What is up, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today we have a very special guest coming all the way from the ATX. Man, it seems like we have a lot of guests coming from Austin now.
I know, recently, right?
Gotta love that freedom. Formerly in the Big Apple, NYC. We're here today to talk to Jared Stein. He's the fitness entrepreneur behind WillyB Fit CrossFit gyms, and he is the fitness director with 10,000 Fitness brand. I'm super pumped. Obviously, I work with 10,000, so we're really excited to have you on today. Welcome to the podcast, Jared.
Boom.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
How's everything been going with you? Obviously 2020 was a very interesting year for all of us, right? So how's it been going, I guess, since, COVID hit and since the new year started for you in 2021?
So I always like to think about things in like absolute and relative, right? From an absolute pain perspective, 2020 was a train wreck, right? My businesses were smashed. My life was kind of turned upside down. I had COVID. It was like the flu for a couple of days. Like for me, it wasn't too bad, but I know that, then I think about relative, right? Relative pain. A lot of people lost a lot of loved ones. A lot of people lost a lot more. So, there's that always like self-pity and gratitude kind of tossed in the mix with when I think about 2020. But that gave me an opportunity to reflect and say, all right, it's time for a change. So I packed my bags, left New York City, left WillyB in the trusted hands of my business partner, who's a absolute genius, right? Couldn't done it without him. And headed down to Austin, Texas, currently at St. Stephen's, coaching baseball and working for 10,000.
Awesome.
Amazing. So
yeah.
From this whole journey, because that's really great, what has been for you, with everything you're doing? Like Josh said, you have the pre-COVID, you got the pre-COVID and then you had the COVID and then now the new year. What would you say has been the biggest learning lesson for you overall?
Well, I think this has been like kind of a reoccurring theme in my life is that, no one's going to feel sorry for you. So don't feel sorry for yourself, right? Kind of get off the mat. Bell's going to ring for the next round anyways, right? So you have a choice, right? And it's either get up and fight or lay there. And I've never been the one to lay there. My parents didn't teach me to lay there. So I got up and started swinging. You always realize that the sun's going to rise tomorrow. So you have some choices in life, right? You can do something, you can do nothing, or you can leave. And I tried all three of those doors. I realized doing nothing didn't feel good. It wasn't great for my mental health. It wasn't great for my physical health. I tried to do something and, it's kicking and screaming, filing lawsuits against the state of New York with the New York Fitness Coalition. And when that didn't really work, I left. You have to make a calculated decision of, what your mental health is going to cost you, what your freedom is going to cost you, and then having a sensible opinion about how long do you wait it out, and can they stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, right? To quote Milton Friedman. So that's kind of how I got to where I am in this current day. The silver lining on it all was it gave me some really nice time to reflect and hang out with my buddies at 10,000 who in a conversation, I pretty much was like, oh, you should hire me to do this thing. And they were like, okay. And they just did it. And I think it speaks to like how good of good dudes they are, and kind of how our skill sets kind of blended to, come up with some interesting opportunities in a market that may not be as prime for retail fitness as, it once was in 2019.
Mm-hmm. And, you kind of glossed over that, but it's a pretty big deal, right? Like, how do you, in essentially just like a throwaway conversation, then turn around and become the fitness director of 10,000? It's a pretty remarkable story, and obviously says a lot about your character and about what you have able to accomplish over your career. So kind of, I'm pretty interested to understand a little bit more about how those conversations really go behind the scenes, as well as like, how were you able to really, separate yourself from whoever else may have even been in consideration, if it was a position ahead of time, or if it was something that they created just for you? What made you so special that they're like, okay, we're going to open up this whole new avenue, right? Because obviously it is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I think it goes back to a few like principles that I've always carried with me. And I think I got this from my maternal grandparents, that, relationships carry currency. And you never know like when you're going to need to cash in that chip. But, I always like to have favors owed than owe favors.
Big facts there.
Yeah,
I love that.
So I always kind of walk around thinking like, it costs nothing to be nice. It costs nothing to do, some favors, when you don't have to. And that's kind of how I've, matriculated through the fitness business, really. I am not the world's best trainer. I'm not. I'll tell you right now, right? I'm not the world's best CrossFit coach. I could try to be. But, I got really good at operating gyms. I got really good at, creating some opportunities that I could, lift up my community and some, friends with. And, when you do a friend a favor, they're happy to do one for you back. And, this kind of starts back in 2016 when 10,000 was, it was 2 people and a prototype. And they were looking.
I'm wearing the OG shirt from when we still worked at Equinox. I bought it in the shop when I was a trainer at Equinox. I'm like, I still love it.
I'm wearing the pants and the underlayers right now, actually. So it was 2016. Keith is the CEO and the co-founder. And they were looking for a place to do a photo shoot for their shorts, right? At that point, they had the interval short. It was the only short they made. They wanted to make the best possible short. And they were like light on cash, right? We're talking like ultimate startup, like mentality. And he gives me a call and I like just finished a shoot at the gym with Reebok. And so Reebok runs you through like the gauntlet, right? So they make sure that you have all the insurances and the things you need. And you learn a lot from those type of experiences. So I'm like kind of rereading these things to Keith. I'm like, do you have all this stuff? He's like, dude, it's a camera and a dude. Like, I don't.
We've been there.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, honestly, man, I don't know what it means either. I was hoping you did. So
yeah. All right, great. Even better.
If you want to come in and take some pictures, that's fine. And instead of paying me, he paid me, but in shorts, right? Like they didn't have like a ton of cash. And he's like, where are these? Like, if you like them, great. If you don't like them, no worries. Like, keep them, give them to a friend. And I fell in love with the shorts, right? And at that time, I was a big Reebok guy, as everyone in the CrossFit space was. And they had rolled out this New York City ambassador program, and I had been a Flywheel. It was just big. I was in love with Reebok. I had worn the Nano for the first time, and I was like, oh, my shoe. I'm gonna live with it. Right. And I like the board shorts were like flashy and loud, and that's kind of who I wanted to be at the time. And I was like in love with them. And then I wear a pair of 10,000 shorts. And I'm like, oh, this is different. Like, this feels different. I don't feel like I'm gonna rip these. I'm a bigger guy, and like the barbell's not gonna rip these things off me. I can sweat in them. And anyways, I fell in love with the shorts, and I wrote him a thank you note. Right. And I was like, dude, thanks. Like, these shorts are incredible. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, if I can get a pair for my business partner, like, that'd be great. And one thing led to a next. He sends the pair of shorts, but then we set up like a pseudo retail shop in like one of our gyms, and it tests really well. Like, all of our members loved it. And we were like de facto like the 10,000 gym in this little hub in Brooklyn that every male member that we had was wearing the same pair of shorts every day. And 2017 hits, they start ramping up, and they start coming out with the versatile shirt and the durable and all these cool like iterations on their products. And getting to watch him grow through this, like, as he was my friend, right? We would go get beers and just like talk about business, right? Like, we didn't owe each other anything. Like, we weren't competing against each other. I really liked his stuff. He liked working out. So like, we just had some really fun conversations around like, relationship stuff and shorts and what products were coming next and who's working out and, what the gym scene in NYC was looking like. And we just garnered a friendship. And, he would like send me a text. He's like, hey, I just saw this workout. Like, what do you think? And I'd be like, well, like, over time I've become a pretty good programmer, if I do say so myself. And I'd be like, I don't love that workout. Like, it doesn't really make a ton of sense. Like, here are the 5 things like I don't like, but like, if you only have 20 minutes, like, doing something's better than doing nothing. So like, go to the class, right? Like, go get your sweat on, right? Don't let me stop you. So we had a lot of those talks, and, as his business was growing, my business was growing. At our peak, we had 6 locations, 2 in Manhattan, 4 in Brooklyn. And, things were going really well pre-COVID. And we had set up like a bunch of different, opportunities for each other with, group workouts, where he'd try to like pay me to like rent my gym and like have guys work out. I'm like, no, like that's not what we do. That's, it's not how friends, treat each other. I was like, you want to throw me a pair of shorts? Great. You don't have them my size? No big deal. I'm going to be working out with you guys anyways. So we would do a bunch of these things together. He asked me to do a wear test and I think I'm still on the website, like back when like they only had like 4 guys that they considered athletes, right? I'm by no means a professional. And like we would do these things for each other. And then, COVID was happening and we were kicking around ideas about like how to get community involvement and community engagement, going, and like a digital competition seemed to be kind of like where we were leaning, because what was happening was a bunch of the guys from 10,000, some of the actual athletes we're all buddies. Right. And so like we text each other, be like, hey, I'm doing Angie, which is a classic CrossFit benchmark workout of, I think it's like 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups for time. And I'm like, I'm doing this one like at sunrise, like, text the scores and like, let's see. So, we talked to Keith and Keith's like, dude, that's really cool. Like, why wasn't I invited? Like, look, how about we make things interesting? We'll put up cash. And I was like, well, if we're going to put a cash prize on it, like we should let the world know and see who like shows up to this thing. And like, from there, we've kind of evolved this into this, once a month, everyone welcome competition that tries to drive people into the gym as opposed to away from the gym, and give the community something to get like excited about again. Like, I don't know if you guys are into CrossFit at all, but the CrossFit Open, that first weekend of the Open, like that Friday night is like the best night for gyms. Like me personally, like it fills my heart to see like all of our members coming together, they're throwing down, they're cheering, they're getting loud, and then we get beers after, right? I just wanted to figure out a way to recreate that it can last 12 months, not in the, 3 weeks, but 5 weeks in the spring. So that's kind of how it came to be. And, we since spurred off to do like not only the competition, but we're doing a gym sponsorship program. So when we started this initial conversation, it was like, hey man, like I got we have these really cool ideas. He's like, well, you want to come on board and like actually do it? And I was like, yeah, cool. So it wasn't like there was like this big like interview or application process. It was like 2 buddies that got together and, we're doing it. And like, it helped that like my counterpart at 10,000, he's the one who taught me how to like ride a road bike, right? Like how to gear change, go hill, Brian, right?
Yeah.
And so
guy.
Brian and I worked the flywheel together. And so like, we were just riding, like not talking about work. And when we started like towards the end of the summer, started chit chatting about it, he's like, this is getting real. Like we should probably put something on paper. And I was like, cool. Like, and that was Central Park at 6 o'clock in the morning, trying to tackle Harlem Hill.
I mean, it's really all about those relationships, right? Like, I mean, even with what Anthony and I have here, it started with us just getting workouts in between like educational classes with Equinox when we were both with them, and if we didn't just shoot the shit with each other and then just randomly start shooting content and stuff because we were pretty like-minded, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't be here, even with a lot of the other people that, kind of help us come up along the way.
Oh, 100%. And it's going back to the whole relationship factor. I think a lot of people, not saying that they don't know what it really means and what the value is. I think a lot of people try to speed it up way too fast to try to get the result they're looking for.
Well, and then it's just surface level, right?
And then it's just surface level stuff, or it's just fake relationship. You know what I mean? Instead of actually like paying attention, giving them your time, giving to them without you feeling like, oh, I got to receive something. If you do, you do great. And if you don't, okay, that's fine too. You're just building a relationship with somebody that you care, that you want to know, that you want to be able to affiliate yourself with, that you want to hang out with, because they're a cool ass person, and when you could do that, through time, like yourself, like through times, things will start happening in an organic way. It's like you said, it's not no interviews. There's no this, there's no that. And next thing you know, you're involved with something big that they're part of just because it happened to fall like that, because you spent time with them. You've actually invested your time and energy in them, and that to them is super important. The fact that you were able to say, hey, they were able to say, hey, you put all this time and energy into me building this relationship, and vice versa. And look, hey, man, like there's this opportunity. Like I think you're the right person for it, and through that time, they're going to be able to get to know who you are. They're going to see what you've done. They're going to build that trust, and they're going to know exactly if you're that person who, if there's an opportunity, you could be that role filling it in.
Well, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it blows my mind when, like, for example, one of our friends started a gym. It actually opened last Friday, called Circuit Academy here on South Beach. And I told him, like, all right, man, I'll buy a membership. He's like, okay, I'm going to give you a discount. I'm like, I didn't ask for a discount.
Right.
Like I don't want it. I don't want your discount. I'm here to support. You're my friend, right? I've known you 7 years. I'm here to support you. I'm not bringing my clients into your gym because you have your own trainers, but I can support you with my dollar, right? And that's really what speaks volumes more than anything, so don't give me a discount.
Right.
Make me pay full price. I want to.
Exactly. And, the beauty of, the forging the relationship makes the actual like blocking and tackling of doing the work much easier. Right. And because we, there's 4 of us that work on this, project together, 3 of them are full-time 10,000. I'm kind of like the outside guy, working my way in. Is that like, one, we're all friends. So like, we're very loose on these calls. Like,
I had one with you. It was great. It was great. We were very casual, but we were able to get things done.
Yeah. And, because we have this inherent trust of each other to get it done or do it the right way and have that aligned vision together. It just makes things just simpler. Right. And even if someone like disagrees, like, at the end of the day, like, this is still Keith's company, right? I don't know everything. Right. So like when he puts his foot down or, has an opinion, I'm like, all right, man, like this is you. Right. Like, and I respect you not only as my boss, but like, you're my friend and I really care about what you think. Right. Like, I'm not going to dismiss your opinion and be like huff and puff in the corner. Right. Like, he's got he looks at the business through a bigger lens than I do. And, and that's what I love about him. Right. That's what I've always loved it about him. And now I get to work with him and kind of, get closer to get our relationship gets closer, as we work through.
That's great. And you mentioned that, the core group of you guys when 10,000 was really starting and you were kind of there to help support, we're all kind of big into CrossFit. Obviously I'm probably one of the farthest things from a CrossFitter. I have my USAW, but I do mostly kettlebell work, a lot of animal flow, body weight stuff. And 10,000's brought on a lot of other great people that are far from the CrossFit world as well, like Neen, right? Neen Williams, great guy. Do you see 10,000 continuing to expand on that network and kind of, maybe stepping outside of the CrossFit realm as a whole? Because it does at times seem that way, like a big part of it is CrossFit. Do you see the expansion continuing? Because bringing on people like Neen, he's such a great guy, and I know Mendez knows him quite well. Yeah. It's great to see that type of network kind of coming together in the 10,000 community.
Yeah, so I'd actually push back a bit, saying that like I don't think we have a ton of CrossFit guys. I think a lot of the content gets shot in CrossFit gyms, to be honest.
Right, that's more what I meant, not necessarily like the community itself.
And so I think that that's partially kind of the aesthetic, just the way that box gym, like CrossFit box gyms look, right? I think that fits.
And a lot of gyms in New York in general.
And Dom, our creative director, has like an eye for it, right? And one of our OGs, Eric Himman, like works out at CrossFit gyms. Like, he does CrossFit, but he's a massive endurance athlete. So I think like of the if we were to do a Venn diagram, I think it very smallly overlaps in CrossFit. But now with this project work initiative, we are leaning into the CrossFit space, and we've signed. This may be a little premature, but we've signed 4 CrossFit Games athletes.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. And they are really, the way Brian and I think about it is like, is this the kind of person that like we want to smash a workout with and then go get a beer with? Right. And
those are the best people.
Those are
the best people.
And these 4 are just genuine good dudes. We are so excited to have them on board because we want to lean in further into the CrossFit world. Right. And in the years past, or I guess a year or 2 passes, we've grown our like athlete, I guess team, is that like, we have guys like Mike Adala, who's like a super strong man, yogi, can do everything. We just put out that feats of strength piece with like the strongman marathon, which I thought was incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
We have guys like Eric Champ, who's just like a doll of a man. Like, he's just, first of all, he's a good looking human being, but he's even a nicer soul. And he does, I guess bodybuilding, right? It's not really performance. It's, it's really aesthetic training to be healthy and move well. And all the way, you range all the way to guys who like are just, absolute beasts, like Poppy Livers, right? He's like a little ball of energy.
Backflip on command.
Yeah. Like, you can just go and, just like, I watch some of his training videos. I'm like, dude, I can't do any of that. And then he like sends me a text. He's like, did you really do that deadlift at that weight? I'm like, Yeah, they're wearing fake plates, right? Like, and I think, but what I love about the brand is that it is big tent, right? And as products come out and products come through, guys like Ryan Hall, right? He's got the U.S. marathon, record. We're designing a running short, like a distance running short. It's going to like a 3-inch inseam with like a,
hey,
yeah.
Have to get those from South Beach down here. Yeah,
that's what you want,
right? But we got to get them in that solar color so everyone sees us, right? But yeah, so like, and they're doing a weightlifting capsule and trying to like push into non-team sports. And that tent is very large, right? Whether it be CrossFit or, Animal Flow or dance or whatever, right? The idea really is that these shorts and this gear is really just meant to be worked through. It doesn't really matter what the work is, right? If you have a shovel or a spoon, you got to dig the dirt and like, we don't care how we get there, but like this gear is going to make sure that you can get there.
Well, what I really love is the fact that, you got all the diversity going on, but you can bring everybody together with this apparel company and kind of everybody can like work off each other and see what everybody else is doing and kind of like, man, I respect you. You can do that. Damn, I respect you. You can do that. Like we're all have our strengths, but this one thing brings us together and we can all also work off each other and learn from each other and build off each other and build this massive community of different superheroes and specialists and stuff like that. And I think that's really cool. Now, I wanted to throw something in there just because we've gotten, we mentioned CrossFit a pretty good amount of times. What's your take on the whole Matt Frazier retiring?
So as a fan, I'm devastated, right?
You shed a tear.
Yeah. And I'm like, because I've been fortunate enough to go to the CrossFit Games as a spectator in 17, 18, and 19.
Wow.
And it's one thing to watch someone win. It's another to watch someone dominate. And
he was a monster.
He's a monster.
The monster.
Yeah. He wanted that one over Frowning, right? Froning?
Yep.
Yeah. He wanted that one over him.
And as a fan, absolutely devastated. He could probably do this, physically for a few more years, but what do I know, right? As a man to man, like, I get it, right? Like that kind of level of dedication, like to be that dialed in for 8 months. Like,
you got to put everything on hold. Your relationships, your social life, everything. It's
not like football or basketball or baseball where you're like, oh, I have the off season. Like these guys really don't have an off season. Like it's 1 month maybe at most, but these guys are on it. Like
and you know what? He's not only earned all of our respect and admiration, but like, you're like, all right, man, you don't owe us anything, right?
Just retire if you want.
Yeah, like, do whatever you want, right? Like live your life. Like, work really hard for this. And, I can appreciate, how hard he worked to get to what he did and to accomplish what he did, right? I mean, think about, like, I always think about, like, to get to, one championship, how many things could have gone wrong that stymie all of it, right? And then he did it 5 years in a row. It's miraculous. And I'm excited to see what's next, right? Like now that I've noticed
who do you got?
I don't know. Right. Like, and I think a lot of it'll play out to see how the season goes. Right. Because you have a 3-week open, you have a 1 week, quarter or 2 week quarterfinal and then the semis. You're like, there's a lot of places where like a bad performance could really like eliminate you. Right? Like, and like, guys have a ton of fitness, like guys like Vellner and Noah Olsen, like, but like Justin Medeiros, who's new to the scene, could easily like have a really bad competition and like not make it back to the games. And as a fan, I'd be devastated, right? I'd be like, oh man, it'd be cool to see him do it again. So I think it's a wild card. I think we're going to see a winner that like no one's
expecting. Well, we got our dude Noah down here in Miami.
I'm a Noah Olsen fan.
It's hard not to be, just the amount of effort that guy puts into everything that he does. Is
a real fit dude.
Relentless.
I enjoy his attitude. I enjoy his work ethic. Right. Like I think he's a real fit dude. His time could be now. But I do feel bad. I was talking to another commentator about this, that, whoever's next is going to have to live in that shadow of like, yeah, but Frazier didn't compete.
Yeah, that's right. And like, it's like when Brady retires, like, well, you're not going up against Brady anymore.
Right. So
even Mahomes, that they said that Mahomes was going to be the one to light him out. I don't know that Bucs defense though. Whew.
They look good.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the work project that you guys got going on. Obviously, I know quite a bit about it, but for all of our listeners who don't know about it, what is the work project? What is it all about, and how did it kind of come to fruition?
Yeah. So it came to fruition by, like I said, like some of the 10,000 athletes we were just texting, really organically. Like we were sitting, it was the end of summer, heading into the winter, in New York, like gyms were closed, but like I had a key. So I was like, I'm still going to go work out, but I'm by myself. Right. And like anyone does CrossFit, like no one gets into it for lonely training. Right. You don't, I can bodybuild by myself.
Yeah,
like
no one's doing DT by themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
No one wants to, get buried without anyone there. So, so we were all texting about like, hey, like, let's hit this workout. Let's do this. Let's do that. And, like I said, Keith is a friend. So I was just like a wellness check. We were just like on the phone together, just like chit chatting. And I was like, hey man, like this is, by the way, like I'm doing this with like our guys, like you want to get in on it. Like what's going on? And so he was upset that he didn't get invited to the first one. So like, he was like, let's make things interesting. And then, over, a couple virtual beers, like we come up with this like plan, like why not do a once a month workout, 10,000 will put up a cash prize and, we'll do a top 10, payout, and it'll work like a regular competition. You got to submit your video. So the workouts are CrossFit style. I don't want to, use their trademark, but it's a functional fitness, workout. It's once a month. Leaderboard resets after. It's a one workout competition. So
equipment, no equipment.
Depends, right? So our last workout was, 7 minutes of burpees, right? It was a repeat of a CrossFit Open workout, which these guys smashed. Like some guys really like went ham. So that one had no equipment. The next one has a barbell.
What was the top burpee number?
161.
Jesus.
Two guys hit it. It was
in what time frame?
7 minutes.
Oh my God, my wrist. Yeah,
I just like my heart hurts. And I reviewed. I'm the judge, right? So I reviewed all those videos.
Oh my God.
So what's the trick? What's the trick? Like, what's the best way to approach it?
Pick a number and stay with it. But you have to stay with it, right? I was watching, like, to the two guys who won are professionals, right? Multiple time games athletes. One was team, one individual, and they were like, we're gonna do 22 to 23 a minute, and they did 22 to 23 a minute, and they were just clockwork. Every minute you can just count it.
You gotta love seeing that stuff, though. You know what I mean? Just anything where anyone's like a true professional and they do something seamlessly. You're just like, I could, if you folded papers for a living, I would watch you like fold, just computer paper all day, just because it'd be so satisfying to watch.
But there's like a psychology behind that, right? That's why like people like sitting at the bar. They like watching people work.
Yep.
Right? It's cool watching the bartender make a perfect cocktail. It is. So watching them do that was really cool. But yeah, so these workouts, the next one has a barbell, just one barbell, right? It's actually really simple, in terms of workout, but it's gonna, hurt, right? If you want to win, you're gonna have to really go hard. So we have, it's kind of like the Open where, the workout gets released on a Monday. You have until Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern to submit the score. Registration is free, right? We wanted to make this low barrier to entry, let the community come back into gyms. If you're still working at home, you can still participate, right?
I love the back into the gym.
Back into the gym, right?
We need that.
We do. And so we want to drive people back in there. So, and affiliates to, give them something to get excited about was like, all right, well, like if you want to register with us, right? Register your affiliate. We can do subgroups. Like you can pick a winner of your affiliate and we can send them a kit, right? I love, like, because it ain't, I don't run the budget. So like, I'm happy to send out a free pair of shirts.
I mean, you didn't hesitate for our giveaway. We really appreciate that, by the way. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. But we're happy to do it, right? Because that's the idea, right? There's like spreading the love, right? And like once people wear our stuff once, right? It's like that's how I tell CrossFit, right? Like give me 6 weeks of CrossFit. The needles in your arm, you're going to be here every week. Once you wear 10,000 shorts, there's no going back to Reebok or Nike or Noble.
I'm wearing them right now.
Yeah, they're just that good, right? So.
And I like the durable aspect of them, right? Like you mentioned earlier, the big thing that I really didn't like about Lululemon or even Nike is, I beat the hell out of my clothes, in the dryer, in the washer, wearing them constantly in the salt water, in a pool, everywhere.
Yeah.
And these last.
Yeah. And they're great. So we figure if we can get these out and like, if affiliate, we've done affiliate prizes where like we've partnered with Samsung equipment. And they'll send out a prize pack of like a barbell and competition plates to like the gym who does the best. Like that's so cool, right? Because, you know, they fell in love with the mission too. And so the idea is like, let's get a lot of people, Big Tent, right? And man, it's one big division, right? There's a men's and women's weight, but they all compete, right? Like we had, you know, twice in a row, we had females crack the top 10 of the all like overall leaderboard.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, not surprised though,
There's
right?
some
You see
savage females out there.
Yeah, well, you see this in CrossFit all the time, right? Like Carrie Pierce won the last event of the CrossFit Games and it was brutal, right? She didn't win. She smashed, right? Like she crushed it. She beat everybody by a lot. But yeah, so we wanted to make a Big Tent, you know, thing that goes on once a month, give the gym something to look forward to. Like we publish a schedule, so like they know what's going on in advance. And so the idea here is like, let's get our bodies moving again. Let's get back in the gym. Let's get back to being community around fitness, right? And like, that's why we all really fell in love with it. It wasn't because like, you know, we think we can lift weights forever. Yeah. That's we know that. Like, yeah. You know, so.
No, I don't think anyone gets into fitness for that. No. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I love lifting weights so much. It's my favorite. People are like, you must love it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like no. Yeah. Like, no, I don't love it. Like, I love how it makes me feel and look, of course. I like being around other people, but if I could do that and also sit on the couch, I would also just sit on the couch, you know? Like,
so the idea here is just to, you know, build back the community around fitness. And if 10,000 can, you know, help, that's kind of what we're doing. The cash prize is obviously to lean into the tip of the spear guys, right? Like we know that, you know, pros are going to come for this. And I think it's a cool opportunity to have them earn a little extra cash in the off season with everything, you know, kind of in flux with
long off season right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, there were, you know, that part's always like fun. But the idea is like, we just want people to like move, feel good, be with their community, and 10,000 wants to be a part of that. And I know, you know, Keith and I have had this conversation numerous times over numerous years. And, you know, the one thing we always talk about is community. Is like, how do you organically build a community? And like, you know, in CrossFit, like you do it through two things, right? And I guess this is true for everything, but like laughter and tears, right? So it's like you laugh with your buddies and then you cry after the workout because you both went through something pretty awful, right? Right. 100%. And then, and then in 10,000, you know, from 10,000's perspective, and I think, you know, Brian's done a really great job with this, as is Keith.
Shout out Brian Levine.
Yeah, he's built a community around, you know, people really loving the gear, but like the gear is kind of secondary, right? It's like loving each other and loving the idea that like we all kind of get after it in our own way, right? You know, he's building his own like good dudes club, and they, you know, in a group of what could be like uber alpha sharks, right? Everyone becomes like super nice. They're super respectful. Everyone's trying to help each other. And, you know, Brian kind of put that together. So we kind of, you know, Keith and I wanted to take that aspect of what kind of each of us mean by community and put it out into, you know, the broader, you know, sphere of the marketplace.
That's amazing, man. No, and going back to everything, man, community is the biggest thing, you know, and I think more than ever now, as we're seeing things growing, brands, companies, personal brands, social media, all this stuff needs to revolve around community. And if it doesn't, I tell people all the time, you're not going to succeed to the level you thought you were. Because at the end of the day, the community is what drives the awareness. It's what drives the commitment, what drives the growth of relationships. It's what drives the trust. And if you could build a well-rounded community with the right people in place, that's where things start coming out into fruition. That's when real business begins to happen, is from within the communities. And I think a lot of people, a lot of companies sometimes forget that, and they don't build their communities properly, or they half-ass it, or they don't even start one at all. You know,
I think it goes to what you were saying before, right? When we talk about a community, it's just a group of relationships, right? And, you know, when you were talking about relationships, about people trying to rush it and, you know, try to just get to the end goal and see what's in it for them and either be served or do service, right? You know, communities come organically through those individual relationships, right? And I think that, to your point, like, you know, a lot of gyms have missed out on that because they were like just striving for the end goal first and not really thinking about like, oh, like, you know, the first part's customer service. The second part is like making sure everyone like moves good and feels good, you know, forget aesthetics, right? And then, you know, we're all having a good time and, you know, this is the best hour of your day. And, you know, that's kind of how I approached, you know, WillyB CrossFit. And I think it's kind of how, you know, Brian kind of approached, you know, building the team at 10,000 was like, you don't owe me anything. We just want you to enjoy the gear, right? And when we approached the CrossFit Games athletes that we signed, the first conversation we had was, hey man, like let's not talk X's and O's. Like first, I want you to fall in love with our stuff, and if you like it, call us back. If you don't, like really no big deal, right? And like we know that they're gonna call back because the stuff's that good, but but like it was relationship building first, and then like we can see how we can work together, not let's work together and then see if we can be friends.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately there's been a ton of that in the industry, right? Over the past, decade, 2 decades, a lot of, hands out there and not a lot of people that give a whole lot of actual substance to them. I mean, we see it, I'm sure, when you were in New York, you saw it a ton. We see it down here all the time. And it's just a breath of fresh air when you really get to encounter some really good people and you get to see them doing actual shit, like actually going out and making an impact instead of just running their mouth about it, and that's really what you get across the board with the athletes, in the people that work with and at 10,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I obviously like speak highly of them because
I'm a little jaded myself.
I not only work with them, but I wanted to work with them, right? But again, like a testament to kind of what they're building and who they're building it with.
So, quick question for you: what is the biggest thing that we should be, or that we're gonna be seeing coming out with 10,000? It could be anything, whether it's a clothes, whether it's an event, something innovative. What is that big thing that's gonna be coming soon? If you can share, would really appreciate that.
Yeah. So we'll take it twofold, right? So from the event side, Work 004 is March 1st, right? I encourage everyone to sign up. Like I said, $0 to sign up. See who's in the, bring your tribe to it, compete internally, right? So, if Peak 360 wants to get involved with Noah and wants to throw down, right? That's
Come
awesome.
on, Noah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. But, that's always fun, right? So 004 is coming March 1st. You can sign up now. The link's up on 10,000.cc, also in my bio. And then from a product standpoint, they have some really cool stuff coming out. So they just launched they look at product in like 3 waves, right? Warm up, performance, cool down, or recovery. They call it recovery, right? So the recovery kit just came out. It's like this merino sweatshirt. He's got it.
Bro, this is the most comfortable. I had to bring it to you. It's the most comfortable. I'm gonna put it up so everyone can see. Yeah. The most comfortable crew. I'm a huge crew neck. I don't like hoodies at all. I'm a huge crew neck guy. If you look at my closet, I have probably 12 different crew necks. I've been waiting for this for like 2 years now. It's honestly the most comfortable. Like you can feel it. It's by far like the softest thing I've ever worn in my entire life.
So there was like, everything they do, they design, they iterate, they refine, and that process goes on for a while. So like when we don't see a new product for a little bit, we're like, what's going on? Like the interval jogger pant, like I was fortunate enough to be the right size for the beta test. And like from the first mock-up version to the prototype to now, like these pants are unbelievable. And it's because they've, refined so much.
Saw Mazda promoting some potential new prototypes.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff coming out. So I believe they have some like base layer stuff, which I'm not 100% certain. Maybe a running vest, then maybe a hat, like a jogging cap. There's some new colors coming out that are just awesome. Like I just can't wait to get my hands on. So in my house, I have 3 drawers and a bureau that like one is the interval short, one is the session short. One is the foundation short, and they're just like stacked, and I just pull from the bottom, and then I have the same thing for the shirts. So I'm excited to get some new colors, and I think they're going to be doing another iteration of the pants, and I think we're going to see some. Have you tried out their tactical line yet? So Jake Leinart down in Dallas, or up in Dallas, I guess I'm south of him now. A former special ops guy, does like really cool training with our nation's like special ops. Design or help design this like tactical short, and it's if you thought like the foundation was a durable, like this is something you can really mess around with. So I think they're coming out with a pant for that.
Nice. I'm moving to Puerto Rico. I still gotta get a couple pairs of the set shorts so that when I'm in the waves.
Stuff for Puerto Rico.
Yeah, floral. Nah, I love, dude. The part of the thing I really like though is that so for so long I feel like a real underprivileged community inside of like the clothing like the fitness clothing brand was people who needed actual stuff that lasted, that really was durable, people who trained really hard, but didn't want stuff that was, I mean, like you mentioned, you were really about like all the vibrant colors and all like the different patterns back in the day. I'm the opposite of that. I mean, he'll tell you, I'm like a very cookie cutter, like black and white, very bland person, you know, across the board. So having like a very, in the best way possible, have like a very, you know, God, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like darker tone, very clean look, right? I was waiting for that, you know, and I think that that's a really big, you know, hole in the market that 10,000 fills, is like people who don't necessarily want, you know, 1,000 different eyes on them in the gym. They just want to come in, get their workout done, train really hard, and then get out and get on with their lives.
Yeah. And look, I think that's what Keith and Eugenio saw, right? Where it was like, you know, they went on Nike.com and they saw 70 pairs of shorts. They didn't understand why one pair was 90, why one pair was 20, what, you know, cuts, what these were for. And they were like, there's got to be a better way. And so they built it, right? You know, and that you know, again, speaking highly of them, but like, that's what makes them who they are, right? They're just solid entrepreneurs, saw a problem, like kind of backed into figuring it out, right? They knew the end process and, or the end result, and figured out the process in between. But yeah, I'm excited for what's to come with them. I don't foresee them stopping anytime soon. They've constantly innovating and constantly pushing into, you know, new sports, right? We talked about the marathon short, that I believe that's coming in 2021. I'm not 100% certain, if not 2022. But like they're working with like some world-class runners, like to make this a thing. They're doing some like Brazilian jiu-jitsu capsules.
Oh, great.
Which I think are gonna look really cool.
Like skins, more like skin type.
So I think it's gonna be skins and shorts. I think. So I definitely shorts. Don't quote me on the skins, but
geese are gonna start coming out with some rolling geese. How fire would that be?
That'd be cool.
We had a request for a cowboy hat, so.
I mean, there's enough ambassadors in Texas now. You know, I feel like everyone just left New York and went right to Austin.
Yeah, well, this request came out of Nevada.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like, all right, dude. Yeah, like yeehaw, let's go.
Yeah, so, I didn't see that one coming from Nevada.
Are we gonna see Josh rocking a cowboy hat?
I will rock the shit out of a cowboy hat, bro. You forget I'm a redneck at heart, dude. I grew up like on farms and stuff. Not like you, Kendall boy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it came from so Sean Sweeney's the CrossFit, one of the CrossFit athletes we signed, and his method is the cowboy way.
There we go.
And so on our first call, he's like, "Can we make a cowboy hat?" And
I mean,
like,
if we could get those Nick Saban hats, you know, like when I was an equipment manager for football, like that was my jam at FAU, like the straw but like the flat brim. If we could get those, like I would do 10 photo shoots right now. Like all the positions, you know, I'll take my, but
hey, it works down here in Florida.
Hey, listen, I would rock the hell out of that. Just feel like I feel like I'm like up in Georgia, you know, feel like a big country boy again. Jared, we really appreciate you coming on and obviously telling us a little bit about a story that I'm very well aware of. Mendez knows a little bit about, but you know, the story of 10,000 and really bringing a community together. Something that we really pride ourselves on down here in Miami is bringing that community together, collaborating with tons of people who are like-minded and who are very different from you. Something that I really think 10,000 does a great job of. Before we wrap things up, and I know Mendez is going to have a couple rapid-fire questions like he does for all of our guests, where can people reach out to you? How can they reach out to 10,000? What are the best platforms to do that on?
Yeah. So my personal Instagram is Jared_S_Stein. And if you need me at 10,000, it's jared@10,000.cc. That's straight to me. I'm quick with email. There's quick. No question. Yeah. There's no question too small or too silly to ask. So
I'm needy and you're always right there for me. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Super.
Oh my God. Get over it.
All right. Time to light it up. All right. Question number 1. If you had to pick one exercise to keep and only keep, which one would it be?
Back squat.
Love that.
Number one trick one.
Yeah.
Number 2. What is your favorite food right now in Austin, Texas?
Oh, barbecue. I mean, yeah.
Where do you go for where are you going for barbecue?
Yeah,
in
so
Austin.
there's a few places. I haven't been to Frankel's yet because the line is insane. You have to get there at 5 a.m. But I've been to Terry Black, and
Terry Black's great. Love that
yeah, it's
spot.
pretty great. And I've been going to like some of the small food trucks, big food truck scene here. So you get a little sample of everything, and
I say, if the food truck's not in a Save and Pay parking lot in Austin, I'm not going to it. Right? Like those are the best ones.
So
Right.
true. Next question. What are the 2 pieces of items right now that for somebody who's never tried 10,000 that you would recommend they got to get right now?
you need to get the interval shorts and the versatile t-shirt.
Boom.
So good.
2 more questions. Let's get it. Craziest and wildest experience you've ever had or seen in CrossFit?
Well, watching Matt Frazier come back on Sunday and winning the 2019 games was kind of crazy. Wildest was knocking myself out doing a push jerk workout with a 155 barbell. Didn't get my head out of the way. Clink.
Wow.
And
Wow.
already out?
Just night.
Out. I was by myself. I came to like, I don't know how much longer later,
Wow.
but I was like, yeah, my brother's a dentist and he was in dental school at the time. And I was like, can you see if I have my teeth? And like, we had a FaceTime and it was not great. I felt really stupid. It was like one of those, like, you kind of wish like someone was there to see how dumb you were.
Yeah, love that. Love that. I mean, our friends do that, and then they end up getting on. Like one of our friends got on Barstool for fucking push jerking our friends, and then she hit that. She hit the fan. She hit the fan. Yeah.
Oh, you saw it?
Oh, you saw it? Yeah, that's our boy Todd. He was the one that hired me at Equinox. That was like right on South Beach. Oh, it's so good.
Last and final question. What's the biggest piece of advice you can leave off to all our listeners today in one sentence?
Hard work pays off, right? We're talking about Matt Frazier. We know it, but we know that to be true, kind of in everything we do, right? You put your nose to the pavement and grind away, like good things happen. So
Love that.
You heard it, guys. Hard work pays off.
Again, like I said, full disclaimer, I'm obviously an affiliate, an ambassador with 10,000, but I love all of their stuff, especially my favorite, the foundation shorts by far. And make sure you guys go check them out, 10,000.cc. You guys won't be disappointed. Thank you again, Jared, for coming on. Until next time, everybody.